is nothing to debate. This is Mike White's team.
Mike White felt like the young quarterback who has good weapons around him, who lifts and plays better than he actually is because there are good weapons around him, which is exactly why the Jets brought all of this talent around Zach Wilson. The difference between Mike White and Zach Wilson is that Zach Wilson couldn't process it. He couldn't figure it out fast enough, or at least in real time, fast enough to make the easy look easy, as Robert Saleh said about Mike White. Now, I mean, that might sound like a confusing quote and maybe even undercutting a little bit.
Undercutting Zach.
Yeah, Zach.
Yeah. I don't think it was intentional, but sure.
But it's the reality of football when you have a play caller in Mike LaFleur who is trying to make it easy. Right? Zach is making the easy look really hard. Mike White, all right, that guy's not open. Let me throw it to Bam Knight, who, by the way, was amazing coming out of the backfield and also as a runner. I saw him play at NC State a couple years ago when they beat Clemson. The kid is a stud. I don't know why it took him this long to get on the field. I don't know what exactly was going on with James Robinson, but it worked for the best for the Jets. But my point is, there are so many weapons around Mike White that all he has to do is do the easy. Do the easy, and this team is championship viable. You saw it. I mean, they executed at the highest level defensively after a little bit of a slow start, couple series slow start. They locked in. He had Mosley making diving interceptions at the goal line. This team can win and go far if they have a quarterback like Mike White playing the easy way and executing the easy stuff.
It's Mike White's team. I'm just going to say it again. It's Mike White's team. I mean, the way they looked, what they said afterwards, the body language throughout.
No, they are having fun, dude.
It's Mike White's team. Dude, it took 5 minutes. You sat down to watch this game, and literally within 5 minutes, 6 of 7, 75 yards, touchdown. You're like, oh, this is what it's supposed to look like. And, I mean, listen, we all knew that what it was not supposed to look like was the weekly slop that Zach Wilson was serving up. Skittish, jittery, bailing from the pocket, the complete antithesis. Stable, real flow, real efficiency. He's the quarterback. And, I'm not in a rush for Zach Wilson to get a snap the rest of the year. Mm-mm. It's not a week-to-week evaluation. Mike White is the quarterback. And, you got to give the Jets organization credit here. And I know it seems easier. It's easy to say it. It's hard to do it. When you, at least for a while, pulled the plug on the second overall pick, there's a lot of people in that building saying, ugh, man, we're going to look bad. But you know how quickly that gets forgotten?
Winning.
If the guy that plays wins. That's all that matters.
Because isn't that what it all comes down to at the end of the day?
Steve.
Winning matters.
Yeah.
How you do it matters once you've won consistently. But when you haven't won consistently, winning is the only thing that matters. And Mike White gives this team the best chance to win. It just feels like he's more in control of what he's trying to do. And he's not confused. And if something's not there, he throws it away. Or he throws it to his check down. Like, he knows where his check down. I know where my outlet is. All right, yeah, that route combo, doesn't look quite right. Let me throw it to my running back. Let me throw it to the tight end. And that sounds simple, but that's football, man. That's what Tom Brady did for the entirety of his career. It was, all right, we got a couple shots. Yeah, it doesn't look good. Let me throw it to whatever my running back was at that, James White. Or one of these small little wide receivers are sitting over there in the flat. Let me just throw it to that guy, breaks a tackle and gets 15 yards. Football is simple. We make it hard because we want to see 370-yard days from our quarterback. But winning is just about getting completions and getting first downs and getting in scoring position. And Mike White did that consistently.
All right, take 10:07 on the Fan. Good Monday morning, everybody. Hopefully you're doing well. We'll get a little Giants a little later. I got a nice playoff, all-encompassing what it's going to take for both the Jets and the Giants. What we believe it will take for these teams to get to the playoffs. But yesterday was galvanizing. It was a unifier. I don't know how, and well, I shouldn't say I don't know anybody. There were a couple of outlier tweets, which I just ignored. Oh, the Jets are ruining Zach Wilson. Oh, his confidence is shot.
Yeah, but let me,
how do you go back to him? You don't.
A
lot of Mike White keeps playing this way. You don't.
That brings up something that's interesting because we saw this 2 years ago in Miami. And I'm going to keep bringing up the Tua thing because Tua recovered from the situation that Zach Wilson is in right now, right? He fully recovered from it, and Tua is a stud. They won again this past weekend, and he looked fantastic. But two years ago when Tua was in that spot, and people were saying the same thing that our callers now are going to be saying about Zach Wilson. That is, Tua's a bust. Get rid of him. I don't want Tua anymore. You know what? Play Ryan Fitzpatrick, right?
I remember.
It's kind of the same situation.
Yep.
Where people are saying, Zach is done. I don't ever want to see him again. Let's play Mike White. The difference is that Ryan Fitzpatrick, you knew, was just a holding. Like, he was just there to hold the spot, right? Until Tua became what?
Stopgap.
He's a stopgap. Whereas Mike White there's still unknown about Mike White. We knew what Ryan Fitzpatrick was. There's unknown about Mike White, which makes this so much harder for Zach Wilson ever to reclaim this position again. It makes it so much harder because I know that Mike White's been around for 5 years. This is his fourth year. He was drafted in 2018 in Dallas. He kind of felt like he was just a guy on a team. But when you look good with good talent around you, how do you put him on the bench?
You don't.
When your team is ready to win.
No, I think this locker room would revolt. Did you see the on-the-field interview with Pam Oliver after the game?
I did not.
Okay, so it's Mike White, and, he's saying all the right things, and he's giving his guys props. 5 or 6 guys come out in a good way, and they just interrupt the conversation. They jump on him like a couple of linemen, a couple of tight ends. I'm like, that's now, to be fair, Zach never really gave him the window to do that because it was always like,
he wasn't good enough.
If the Jets won, it was because of the defense, and generally you talk to the defense on the field after that game. But it looked right, it felt right, and it was right. And he's the quarterback of this team. All right, Tiki and Tierney inside of our Town Fair Tire studio. Friends at Town Fair remind you that you always get the guarantee lowest price on name brand tires from Connecticut to Maine. Nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody. Well, and by the way, before we get these calls, along the lines, Tiki, of that. Now, you were traveling on Friday. I came and I did the show. And I said, listen, I would have been okay with if they said, all right, you know what? Zach's, for this past game, Zach, you're going to start. Leash is short. You don't have it, we're yanking you. I would have kind of been okay with that, kind of. But I also said, too, I says, if he's that fragile, if he's that mentally weak, that this ruins him, he's not the guy anyway. And we don't need to waste time on finding out if he is.
Yeah.
This is the most atrocious sport out there. Somebody's getting hurt at some point. Hell, Mike White got hurt against the Colts a year ago. When he was starting to show a little promise, and he started that game very well, threw a touchdown to, I believe it was Elijah Moore, right? Then he got hurt, and then it was, oh, God. And then I think the Jets actually got a backdoor cover with Josh Johnson. Point being, we don't know who this guy is. What we've seen from Zach, it's skittish, it's scattered, it's sloppy, and it's messy. What we've seen from Mike White, it's beyond interesting. I have strapped in my seatbelt. I have no intention of getting off this Mike White ride anytime soon. I'm not saying he's the next Namath. I'm not saying that at all. What I am saying, Zach, you ain't playing for a long time.
No,
and I don't care what happens against Minnesota. He can have 2 picks and a fumble. Mike White is playing the next game. Period. It's his team.
It'll be really interesting to see how teams start game planning Mike White. Because, coming into this game, Chicago's beat up defensively. They got a lot of busts.
Yeah, they're terrible. I mean, that's why you don't overreact to that.
Exactly.
I got you.
They probably didn't game plan a ton of this. In fact, the touchdown to Elijah Moore. They're playing man coverage. Nobody covers. There's one high safety. And it looks like the safety is beat, but the safety's not supposed to be covering that. There's somebody supposed to be covering Elijah Moore.
For sure.
He's just kind of running free.
But how come Zach never finds those situations? I know it never happens for him.
It never happens.
I mean, it happens to Mike White a lot.
Mike White recognized the screw up of the of the Chicago Bears defense. He took his time.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't sprint out of the pocket. He just kind of meandered a little left out of the pocket, knowing that the corner route was coming. And he waited for Elijah Moore to find his little space, and he threw a touchdown. And it was the nail in the coffin for the Chicago Bears. But that's the point. When a team screws up, you have to penalize them. And the only way to penalize teams when they screw up, like the Chicago Bears defensively, is if you know in your mind what you're supposed to do. And Mike White has that. Zach Wilson doesn't. And so as we sit here and we think about Zach and what Zach's future is, because you have to. He was the number 2 overall pick last season.
I got to be honest. I don't even care right now. That's not even in my realm.
But you have
doesn't matter to me.
You have to think about it. What Mike White has now given the Jets the luxury is to make Zach Wilson wait. Wait until you find out whatever the hell Mike White is. Mm-hmm. Zach has to wait now, and it sucks, and it's old school. It's like 15 years ago.
Tough.
Top pick quarterback, but that's what Zach Wilson is in right now.
You're damn right.
And he has...
And he made his own bed.
He has zero room for complaint. Zero room.
Yep, and if he tries, then it shows he has no clue, he cannot read a room, and he's not in the business of trying to better himself. There's some fractured relationships in that locker room.
Yeah, no doubt.
They love Mike, and I don't think they're feeling him.
They did.
Zach,
they did show him on the sideline a couple of times. He was smiling.
Yeah, but now, I'm happy you bring that up. Hold on a second.
Had the hoodie on.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I get it. It's raining the whole game. Your ego is dented. I understand. You're 23 years old. I understand there's a lot of emotions flying around. Can I just make a complaint with Fox? First of all, it was like watching the Chicago Bears broadcast. Can you talk about the Jets a little bit? Oh, my God. Please. When the Jets are on Fox, it stinks.
Yeah.
I'm not even saying like the mechanics of the broadcast. I don't mean that. Oh, the narrative. I don't care about the Bears. Justin Fields not playing. Your defense sucks. You traded everybody. Can you talk about the more interesting team? But here's where Fox egregiously messed up. Now, I believe it was, what was it, Davis? It was Joe Davis and a former player, whatever it was.
Moose?
It
Was it Moose?
It was Moose. It was Moose. I like them both. It's not their issue or their problem. What Fox unforgivably did not give us was the first touchdown that Mike White throws. I want to see Zach immediately. I want to see, even if they get to it after, I needed to see. And I tweeted this, and people are like, dude, the Jets are playing well. Don't worry about that. No, that actually matters, because if he sat there sullen and distant, I know he smiled a couple of times with Flacco. I get that. And I know it was a tough spot. But if he doesn't get off his ass and dap up Mike White and dap up Moore and dap up Garrett Wilson and dap up the O-line, then that's a problem. That is a problem. And I don't know how Fox does not deliver that. If I am in a production meeting with Fox, the first thing I say is, guys, the pertinent storyline is this kid, he just got benched. He was drafted second, all right? He was supposed to be the golden child. We need to see what happens when the Jets score a touchdown. Didn't get it.
No, you're right.
What, are you kidding me?
But Daryl Moose Johnson.
I mean, that's a dereliction of duty right there.
But Daryl Moose Johnson had a turtleneck on, BT.
Well, so I'm down with that. You know I like that. 877, then I like Moose. And the other guy, Joe's good. But from a camera point of view, come on, man. 877-337-6666. Tiki and Tierney. I think our boy Beningo will be happy. He comes in at 11:40. All right. That's it. I don't care what happens with Minnesota. And by the way, the Jets will play very well against Minnesota. Mike White, his team, Zach, you sit. That's it. There's nothing else to process for my seat.